What's up, strength coaches? Welcome back to another episode of the Cheeky Midweeky, where you know what we're doing. We're making strength and conditioning not boring anymore, and we do that by highlighting the practitioners that make this the best field to work in, whether it's high school, college, private, pro, or tactical. We are going to be diving back down into this tactical rabbit hole. I am joined by Coach Alex Redshaw, who works with firefighters. So yes, tactical is not just working with military personnel, police, fire. We've done, obviously, Air Force is inside the military, but we've also explored the opportunity and how to serve police, firefighters. In this episode, we're going to dive even deeper on how to work with firefighters. He works with O2X. This is a different branch within the tactical world. If you're looking how to get into firefighters, this will help you out. Before the episode, though, please hit that subscribe button. Does not cost you $1, but it does help our show grow. Thank you very much. Here at Strength Coach Network, we pride ourselves on giving you the best quality information from strength and conditioning coaches and practitioners that still work with or have worked with athletes. This is not theory. We are always about giving you practical information that you can apply day one the minute you're done listening to this. And you can check us out for a $1 trial in the link down below. Click that link and find out more about us. Vacations are meant for you to be outside doing things that you love and reconnecting with your family and your friends and recharging your battery. It is not meant for you to travel and listen to some coach talk in a conference hall and eat some food that you know really isn't the best thing that you want to be eating. Take back your vacations and do so with a Strength Coach Network annual membership. When you purchase an annual membership, you're going to get access to our course, Performance Coaching 101. In the subsequent years, it'll renew and you'll get access to 102 and 103. Each year, you're going to get access to 2 NSCA CEUs and 10 CSCS CEUs. These CEUs will allow you to be able to learn from the comfort of your office. You'll be able to earn CEUs on your time rather than having to travel. Take back your vacation and be able to do this with a Strength Coach Network annual membership. Click the link down below for more information. What's going on?
So we've just started some pre-hire recruits coming on who are going to get into the system 2 months before recruit school formally starts. So we've got about 7 of those started last week. So just familiarizing them with the training program that we're going to do. So then they can essentially be like force multipliers for me when the program officially starts and we have another 20 or 30 recruits join. So I've got a couple of people in my corner that know what's going on. So it's not just like a mad rush, which is common for the first week or so of recruit school.
About to say that sounds like an unfair competitive advantage for them.
It does a little bit. It's funny you say that. So formally, we cannot train them on fire skills during that period because it would be an unfair advantage for them. But they do have an unfair advantage in the physical capacity space. So they do get a 2-month head start to their peers.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like some of these people might be like underdeveloped. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The disparity probably between the fittest and the least fit individuals on day one will probably be greater than we've seen before, because this is the first time we've properly done a pre-hire process. It's just so competitive in this area because you've got DC just across the water, and then you've got different counties that are all very close by, and we're all looking at the same pool of candidates. So we want to try and say, hey, we'll hire you 2 months before the academy starts. We can start paying you, and you can just get used to academy life.
Yeah, and I mean, who wouldn't want to sign up for that, right?
Exactly right. And they do they do PT with me in the morning, and then they get shipped off in the afternoon to go to different departments in the county. So they'll go to the library and help those people out. They'll go to our fire marshal's office, help them with paperwork, that sort of stuff. And then once the academy starts, it will be 28 weeks, all systems go.
All right, so you're talking fire. Go ahead and introduce yourself, the things you do, but then I want to talk about what the firefighters go through, so that way these strength coaches who are trying to get into tactical and if they want to work fire, what does that look like?
Absolutely. Let's do it. So I'm Alex Redshaw. I'm strength and conditioning coach at the Arlington County Fire Department. I'm contracted through O2X Human Performance. If you haven't heard of O2X, it's a company that hires a whole bunch of human performance specialists in a range of disciplines, from strength and conditioning coaches to athletic trainers to mental performance, sports psychologists, dietitians, and embed us in agencies across the nation, from military, fire, police, sheriffs, that sort of stuff. So in my sort of role, I sort of oversee a lot of the health and wellness related activities at the fire department. I'm fully embedded there. So my job is 5 days a week in person at the department, serving those who serve us. So with that one, I can go into a little bit of my background if you'd like, and then sort of talk about how I transitioned out of working in sport and into the tactical field, which I love.
For sure. Yeah. And anybody, if this sounds familiar, I'm linking Connor Freeland's episode down below. You know, had the O2X background working in fire. What does O2X stand for? I just thought about that.
Optimize to the X. So optimize the way you get to your objective. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah. So our founders were in the military space prior to starting the company, and that's like their big philosophy is like optimize your path.
We gotta make it happen where we get O2X to help the Ankeny Fire Department and the police department here in Ankeny, Iowa, that I get to be the strength coach for the fire and the police department. So we got to make this happen. O2X. Let's get this to happen right now. You're hearing it.
We can get it. I'll talk offline.
Let's make this happen.
We'll grease some hands. I like it.
Exactly.
So I guess with my sort of background and moving into this space, you probably picked up a funny accent by now if you're listening.
Yeah, Northeast, like probably. You sound like one of them Boston guys, huh?
I get it all the time.
Sound like you from Boston, the Beantown.
It's funny. I get Southern Maryland and New Jersey all the time. So you're close. But no, from Australia originally. So I spent the first 25 years of my life over there and then came over here about 3 years ago, which has been so much fun. So with that, I did my undergraduate degree at the University of South Australia in exercise and sports science. I had the dream of becoming like a physiotherapist, athletic trainer, and working in elite sport. But if anyone's familiar with what the elite sport scene's like in Australia, there's not as many opportunities as what there are over in the US. Essentially, you go straight from high school into the elite sports system. There is no college ranks where you can sort of work your way up the ladder. So from there, my other options were pursuing the athletic training or physiotherapist role, but then I'd be at a hospital or clinical space, and that didn't really appeal to me. So I got to like the end of my undergrad, and a professor who I was becoming quite friendly with, we had really good conversations in our classes together. I asked him for some career advice in my final semester. Professor Kevin Norton, if you're out there, thanks for everything. And he suggested that I apply for research opportunities. And he said that one that I should apply for, and he thinks I would have been a great fit, was with the state fire department. They were looking at doing some research into the health profiles of their firefighters. So I went through an interview process, and I was lucky enough to be selected for an 18-month scholarship with my partner, Joel Dunstan. So he looked at the injury history of the firefighters over the last decade and the mechanisms of those injuries. And then I looked at the current state of the workforce. So the average age of firefighters, but then also their movement quality in particular and how that deteriorated or changed with aging. And essentially what we found that that fire department I was working with, we had 3 times the amount of people over the age of 60 than under the age of 30. And so, as you can imagine, as you get older, muscle quality, balance, strength, all that stuff starts to deteriorate. So it was interesting when we presented our findings to the chief, because we were like, the job doesn't change, but your people are. So the injury risk is going to be really significant, especially as these people get older. So what we found in my research was at 50 years of age, that was like the tipping point for movement quality. So like asymmetries between movement sites, so like lunges, all that sort of stuff. And then balance, coordination, stability. That deteriorated at 50. And then my colleague, Joel, he found that the only age group that was overrepresented in terms of injury rates across all the decades was that 50 years to 59 years. And then the most expensive injuries coming to those 60 plus. So they're like career-ending injuries, like knee replacements, that sort of stuff. So we're like, sir, your workforce is getting older. We need to start troubleshooting some things. You currently don't have anyone in the health and wellness space to like provide any programming, anything like that. It's all run internally by firefighters, training firefighters. And he goes, okay, cool. When's your scholarship finish? And we say about 2 weeks. And he goes, well, you can start in 2 weeks then. So we started, and it was fantastic. So we were there flying the flag for the South Australian Metropolitan Fire Department for about 3 years. He's still there. I came over here. But it was a really fun opportunity. We worked with about over 1,000 firefighters across the size of Texas, 400,000 square miles, driving, like 5 hours to get to a station, stay overnight in the country town, talk to the guys and girls, and then sort of roll our way back. But it was an excellent opportunity and sort of where I cut my teeth.
That just sounds like so much fun. I mean, just how much God's hand was working through that entire thing, and how it just like, oh my gosh, good for you. Like
Exactly.
the 2-week thing, like that was something similar happened to me where I got my internship. I got my first job 2 weeks before my internship was like, I think it was the last week. And it's just like, I don't know what's going to work, but we're just going to keep plugging away, boys.
100%. And funnily enough, like we got this opportunity in, what was it, March of 2019. So it was a year later, COVID would have hit and we would have been in trouble. Like it would have been all locked down. It would have been very tough to get out to the stations, like build our reputation and get FaceTime with the troops. So yeah, very, very lucky on that front as well.
Now, Costa has been very, very open about like the minute you get hired, essentially like keep your mouth shut, just kind of like learn. You got to build relationship with the boys. Just had a strength coach on who is in the tactical space. Costa again hooked us up. So again, shout out to you, Costa. I know you're listening to this, but he talked about like, you have to be able to get buy-in, do some suck with the boy. Like, and he said all of this and Costa said all of it because sometimes strength coaches come in 2 guns blazing, trying to be a sports performance coach in a tactical world. What does all that mean to you?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like the buy-in is the biggest thing with any group or team that you work in. And the fire service culture is similar to a lot of sporting senses. But you need to like fully be adopted by them. Like the people you are working with, they literally like eat and sleep together several times a week.
I mean,
so
Connor wasn't wearing an O2X shirt. You are. Connor was literally wearing his DC Fire gear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
that is true. I did take off my Arlington Fire Department training shirt because it was all hot and sweaty from our PT session.
Put it back on.
I should. I'll reach across the room. But you're right. Like a lot of it is. So I tell people all the time, if you're getting into the strength and conditioning world, regardless if it's tactical or anything, it's like you got to meet your players where they're at. You got to meet your people where they're at. So for me, my biggest effort whenever I started at the fire department in Australia or moving over to Arlington, first point of call, I'm going to get full coverage, all stations, all shifts. I'm going at lunchtime. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to say, hey guys, can we go out of service so they don't get interrupted with a call for 20 minutes? Can we just sit around the table? Let's have a chat. What is challenging about your work and how could I possibly help you out? And then common themes emerge. So a lot of the things are actually related to stuff outside the strength and conditioning scope initially. So biggest thing, shift work. Like everyone's fatigued, everyone's tired. How can I help them be a more motivated employee, but also a better hang outside of the firehouse when they do get to spend time with their family? So we know that like shift work and especially like emergency services in general, we're in a bit of a hiring crisis nationally. Like no one really wants to work in the office, let alone be away for 24 hours at a time. So people are overworked. Some people will say they're underpaid as well. It's really challenging to kind of keep the motivation and morale up for a lot of people. So I troubleshoot that. My biggest way to get buy-in, I think, is try and like essentially teach people the tools. So my philosophy of let's teach the person to fish and hopefully they'll be able to eat forever. So I front load a lot of my stuff with education. So I speak about that 20-minute time slot when I do my station visits. The first presentation I rolled out at Arlington was on sleep because everyone was tired. Like even in our initial chat around the firehouse at lunchtime, I had guys falling asleep in the table. And I was like, okay, like we need to like educate people on how potentially they can sleep better, introduce some tactical napping throughout the day to improve their cognitive performance, but then also make the link between like, hey, shift work is not great for you. So when you're at home, make a real effort to catch up on that extra sleep that you would have missed throughout the night. So it's okay to prioritize yourself. And these people like live to serve. So sometimes it's like, hey, you got to like serve yourself a little bit more. And funnily enough, like I digress a fraction, like the comparison between working in sport, because I worked in basketball and soccer before moving into tactical space. Like
you can call it football if you want.
Yeah, I can. But like
American audience, deal with it.
Yeah, true. But unlike athletes, like our services are not expected or taken for granted. Like if you go to a college athletic program, like people kind of expect a strength and conditioning coach to be in the room and care about you and push you.
TeamBuildr has been my trusted source for online software programs for my athletes since 2019. Since then, they've continued to grow. They have this new practice integration where practice planning can integrate with the sport coach. You have your sports science, your AMS, the questionnaires. They've continued to evolve and keep giving you the things that you need. It has made my life easier as a strength coach. I want the same for you. You do not need to keep printing on lift cards. Please, printing on lift cards in Excel, you don't need to do that. If you need help being able to purchase it, they have a pre-written grant on their website. They're also part owners in the Plyomat with Coach Rich Burnett. So if you need to get a good device that can accurately and validly and quickly get your jump height and ground contact time, so now you can get RSI. Plyomat's a great choice. We utilize that at Goldfinch. Check TeamBuildr. Check them out in the link down below. Please stop printing on lift cards. It's going to make your life easier. It's going to make your athlete's life easier. It's easier to program on the back end. Check out TeamBuildr in the link down below.
Whereas at the fire department, like someone coming in to like help you out is like a very foreign concept for a lot of people. So they appreciate the love.
Okay, so I want to stay there on that because I feel like some of our coaches and even me hearing that, and if you have kind of a skeptical mind when you're hearing things, you're like, okay, well, this guy's sitting down at the table, and okay, Alex, if you were the first, probably not as hard because it's like, oh, okay, who's this new guy? Let's give him a shot. But if you're the next person coming in because the person before you came in and did a shit job, let's call it what it is. Like that's what Matt was talking about yesterday. So listen to his episode, everybody, if you haven't. But Matt was talking about these guys, they come, they go, they're in it for the wrong reasons. They're not in it to actually serve the tactical athlete. They're in it because they want to punch the clock and get a paycheck instead of actually doing the right thing. They're screwing the strength coach that happens next because, like I said, these guys sitting at the firehouse like, all right, Alex, talk to me about how these band pull-aparts are going to make me a better firefighter, right?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Like, and especially in the fire department as well, like change is so uncommon and so uncomfortable.
They don't want to. They're like, forget you.
Yeah. It's such a funny thing. Like firefighters hate how the way things are, but they dread change at the same time. That's their biggest
Amen.
Thing. But to be fair, that's most workplaces as well.
I'm about to say everybody. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, but like I was in a really lucky situation with Arlington because I had another guy from O2X get a promotion and like move higher up the ranks. So I came in and backfilled his position. He had a really good relationship with a lot of the people. So it was a pretty smooth transition, but we had different operating styles, of course. But like, yeah, with that, the change is so different. So if you are someone who wants to move into the tactical space, people in tactical, especially in fire, are there to have 30-year careers. So you being open and honest about like, hey, if this is like a stepping stone to move on to the next thing, you'll get instantly shut out. It's a family. You don't leave. So like, yes, we all have career aspirations and whatever, but like I am in it for the long haul. Like I love the Arlington Fire Department. It's like part of the family. So like, be very careful. There'll be like one piece of advice is like, they are here forever, at least perceptually forever, their whole careers. This might just be a stepping stone for you, but never let that show.
Now, I know because of our conversation off air that you've got family in the area, so it is kind of a lifetime job for you. Talk about the importance of that for strength coaches.
Well, the work-life balance of working in government is just a beautiful thing. I mentioned before, like working in basketball, working in soccer, like you're out getting home at like midnight, 11 o'clock at night after trainings. The work-life balance doesn't exist. Like when I was working in soccer in particular, I was a head strength and conditioning coach for our college soccer women's program. I'd be at work all day at the fire department. And then afterwards I would be going from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night working with the girls. And like, I would see my wife, like, shoot, on a Sunday, we'd like have Sunday afternoons. That was all we would have together. Whereas like moving into the fire department, it's like, hey, I start work at 5:30 in the morning. I am wrapped up by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock every day. I can be a present partner for us and be a more present friend. You can say yes to stuff. Weekends open up. It's a great work-life balance. The job security is really good because no coach is going to change and then wipe out the whole strength and conditioning department. Like I am an embedded entity. and part of the family. Again, like once you ingrain yourself as part of the program at whatever fire department or police, military organization you're at, military might be a little bit more different. I haven't worked in military, but like it's very secure and like you feel very like, I don't know, appreciated. I would say that would be like most days I feel very appreciated for my help.
As two people that don't work in college athletics, let's unpack it a little bit of just like this sadistic world that is people thinking hours spent doing something equals doing a better job. When, I mean, let's just use your firefighter example. If they went like, hey boss, we worked really hard. We fought that fire for 16 hours. Like, oh my gosh, this must have been the biggest fire you've ever fought. He's like, no. We just kind of, we took our time, probably could have been done in 4, maybe 5, but we just wanted to prove that we're working really hard. And so we did it for 16. They'd be like, you wasted hours working, you wasted water, all these things. But college strength and conditioning, we have not got it through our head. I don't know if it's because the people that are in charge have tried to brainwash their assistants so their assistants don't leave and they don't have to try to hire new people. But this just like, oh, I'm not going to actually optimize my life and my schedule. When you're working in the private sector, you don't do that. Like, I just don't get it.
I don't know if it's because, I mean, it drives burnout. You're 100% correct. I don't know whether it's like
because regardless of the career, people feel that same way. There's a reason why people leave their jobs that they have working in the stock world. Like at the very least, they get to make a crap ton of money when they're doing that. So they put their time in, they leave, whatever. Now but like, I just don't understand. I'm saying it like strength coaches wake up so we don't lose the profession of strength and conditioning. Because the current path we're on with the low salary that people are being asked to take, the long hours, this profession is like, we're at a pivotal point.
That's the thing. Like you make a great point. Like for me, I always think about it as like, is it the chicken or the egg? Like what came first? Did the turnover and churn of coaches drive like the demands of like the people, oh, you're only going to be here for 1 year, so we're going to work you to the bone and squeeze every ounce out of you? Or do people leave because they're getting squeezed? Like I think about it like that, like what comes first. It's interesting. Yeah, I don't have a good answer. It's really tough. And like I feel for a lot of these,
I want to say it's weak leadership. I feel like it's anything else.
The hours they put in. It is a leadership thing.
It's weak leadership. It's weak leadership at the top that doesn't have the ability to just be like, hey, to strength coach, you don't have to be here. It's okay. I'll cover for you. And the lack of the willingness to cover and move for one another. Like, and I'm saying it because I've seen a world where we worked at Iowa. We covered and moved for one another. Sure. There was 1 day a week that you knew, maybe it was 2 days a week, but you knew for some coaches, it was 1 day a week. So for some, it was 2 days a week. Yeah. I'm first in, last out this day. But on the other days, if it ain't my coverage day, I can come and go as I please. Just get your job done. So I've literally seen that, lived it, and had experience and had success doing that. And then when I had a chance to run my own operation, did it that way, had success. And it's like, so I can't listen to other people tell me that it can't be done that way. Like, that's my problem. Like, that's my, like, I can't get out of my head. I've seen it. I've lived it. Like, no, it can be done.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, leadership need to understand that continuity is often like a superpower. Like if you have continuity in your staff, like you don't need to reteach like a whole brand new crew every single year. And that's hours wasted away from like developing the people that you need to develop. And also like, there's always that like thing hovering over your head that it's like, this is only going to be a short-term thing. So yeah, it's breaking that culture. And I think you get more value out of your employees if they feel valued, well immersed, and then, like appreciated essentially. Like I feel like there's not the appreciation for people, especially in the assistant strength and conditioning space. It's
like, think about your world, and like, think about your world with the people that you're working with. And it's like, oh, I know Jim and I know Steve and his family, and how it's like, hey, he's battling these fires. And I know that at the end of the day, he can go home and play baseball. Like, you're going to write better programs and you're going to listen better and you're going to be there for that person better, which at the end of the day gives Arlington Fire a better firefighter who can then put out fires better, who can make the community safer. All like, it's Maslow's hierarchy. It's not like, it's nothing that's, I mean, it's as old as time, like the need for community and doing life together. Like, this is not a new concept, but we've just completely ruined it for some reason.
And that's so interesting. They talk about the family. Like the family is the pillar. Like you're only at work for us, it's 72 hours in a 9-day cycle. So you're at work and then you're at home. You can be as well put together as you want when you're at work.
Hawken Dynamics is my preferred choice for force plates and for handheld dynamometers. Made in the USA up in Maine, I have been using them since 2020 when I was at Towson University. Still use them at Goldfinch today, and I brought the plates to the high school that I've trained at. We will use the plates and transport them when we train athletes at the many different high schools that we currently work at. As I said, they are a handheld dynamometer as well with the true strength. You can assess athlete internal, external rotation, hip, AB, adduction, calf strength, hip, whatever you want to assess, you can do with the true strength. It also has the ability to pair with the difference striking machine. So now you can see single strike, multiple strike. Check out Hawken Dynamics down in the link down below.
But if your home life is a mess, like you don't have healthy support systems out there, like your wife, your children, your husband, whatever, like it's an uphill battle for you. Like I was talking to a guy today. So in the morning, I work with recruits specifically at our training academy. And then that sort of first hour after I finish with recruits, I have individual clients come through for 2 hours or so. And the guy who came in today was like our first proper sit down initial onboarding. He had some like body composition goals that he had. And I was like, all right, what's the home life? He's like, oh yeah, like my wife, she's like, we don't really have a routine in terms of nutrition or exercise or anything like that. And I was like, bring her in. Like I can have the exact same conversation with her. I do it with a lot of our people. It's like, if you're a tandem, like you're a team.
And if she's the one, or like one of you is the one that's doing the grocery shopping, like you might as well.
Yeah, get the buy-in. Like, and then when you go home, you'll feel supported. You're going to feel healthier. You're not just going to like fall back into your old unhealthy habits. So yeah, I do that with a lot, and even with the children. Like I've had like some of my firefighters bring their kids in during school holidays, and
that's
it's like,
brilliant.
All right, like my son, like really into hockey. Like, do you think you can just do a quick scan on him and make sure that he's like moving the right way and he's not at risk of hurting himself? Maybe just talk to him about like having a day off every now and then. And I was like, absolutely, like bring him in. I'll have a chat to him. He's like 14, 15. Yeah, we can put him in the right path. And again, that's just showing that you care. And like, it's a really unique opportunity that I have and a lot of tactical strength and conditioning coaches have to make a significant positive impact on people who have like a truly critical and like honorable role in our community.
Amen. Like, and that's what it's all about, like helping them be able to get back to their family and whatever they're supposed to do, because that ultimately is that's their quote unquote game day when they get put on call. And like, this was something that Matt and I talked about yesterday. Sure. For the people that he's working with, their game day is, okay, maybe they're getting ready for selection. Maybe they're getting ready for deployment, and their practice is all of their training that they have to do, going and shooting missiles or mortars or whatever things they're doing. For you all, okay, their game day is going out to a call. So what I'm getting to is, it's important for the tactical strength coach to go and watch practice, and practice sometimes might be boring things like watching them, you going on a ride with them, or you watching some of their training that they're doing as they're practicing climbing a ladder with a new technique or whatever it is. If you're working in the military world, it might be watching them doing an operation at 10 o'clock at night. So you know what their system is going through. So that way the next day when they come in to lift and they're a little groggy, you understand it better. And that just is what I think that got lost in translation for the tactical strength coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I couldn't be a larger supporter of like understanding the job demands or the specific demands. Like be culturally competent in the space that you're moving into. Like I've only worked in like sport and then fire. I haven't worked in police or sheriffs or military. But if I was to move into one of those spaces, like my first 6 months would be being a fly on the wall, getting to as many training exercises as I possibly could, understanding some terminologies. Like even moving from my previous fire department over to here in the US, like the shift schedule was completely different. And like they called like the engines and the trucks different things. They called like the buildings different things. And I was like, I probably sounded like an idiot for the first year because I was just defaulting to the stuff that we called things back home. So like becoming culturally competent and then also understanding from there the demands of the workforce. So like with firefighters, big thing that jumps out immediately whenever you think of a firefighter, you think of the gear. Like we're talking like 100 pounds potentially of extra stuff that you've got on your person. And from the ground up is how I do a lot of my programming. It's like, all right, ankle flexion, Qigong. Your gait is going to be impacted because if you ever put those boots on, there is no range. Like you are fixed in those things. So like understanding how just like even putting the boots on is going to impact someone's ability to do a job task. And
Powerlift has been my choice for strength and conditioning equipment ever since I got into the field. Right now, I still have their racks, I have their barbells, I have their bumpers, specialty bars, and we have the IMTP device at Goldfinch, and it's been great for us because it's allowed us to free up the rack where we used to have to do the IMTPs. Now we use that IMTP device, roll it around, we've created more space. You have to check them out. Doesn't matter if in your college, high school, pro, tactical, or private, they have the ability to make whatever customizations and whatever adjustments you need. I was a part of the weight room that was the 32 brand new rack facility at Iowa football. You see what they did for TCU football. Doesn't matter how big, how small, whatever your customizations are, Powerlift is number one in the exercise equipment space for a reason. Check them out in the link down below.
then obviously like you have an air set, an CBA pack on, that's going to throw out your movement entirely because your weight distribution is now up on your shoulders. And for women who have like their center of gravity around their hips more than men, is around more the chest, like they're fighting more of an uphill battle. So you got to like kind of understand all these things and then sort of put it into practice with some of your training considerations.
It's funny you said that about the truck and engine, because that's what Connor talked about, where one of his first days, because he didn't know any better. He's like, hey, can you guys move that truck? And a firefighter was trying to teach him a lesson. He's like, yeah, no problem. Nothing got moved. And he like came back later. Hey, could you move that truck? Nothing happened. And then like he came back later. He was trying to kind of be mad. I thought I said, can't you move that? He's like, we don't got a truck in here, bro. And he's like, what is that? He's like, that's an engine. And it was like trying to teach him a lesson. Like, hey, you're not trying to learn what we do. Why are we going to try to learn what you're doing about strength and conditioning?
Yeah, I've heard Connor say that before, and it's just like hit home with me so hard. I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, that is definitely something. And people are very proud of their occupation, so they should. Like, you should be as willing to learn from them as they should be from you. So show interest. Absolutely.
Well, especially if strength and conditioning coaches are so sensitive nowadays, where it's like, no, I'm a sports performance coach, and it's like, well, okay, you can get all sensitive that I'm an athletic development coach, a sports performance coach, but you're not willing to try to learn the difference between truck and engine. Like, come on now.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, again, it goes to buy-in and being part of the culture. Like you've got to be accepted first. And that's one of the ways to be accepted is like, you're going to put yourself out there. You're going to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Like you're going to dress up into the gear and you're going to feel a bit silly. You're going to be asking a lot of questions, but they'll coach you through it. Like everyone at the end of the day is like, wants to provide information. Like everyone's there for the right reasons for the most part and like want to see you succeed. Yeah, it's a really cool space for sure. And like sorry, do you have some?
Oh no. What I was just going to say is like this continued evolution that I've heard about firefighters in different locations, if anything, is like understanding that each firehouse is its own kind of unit and like they have their own pride or things that they do. And it's almost like it's its own team that you have to respect and train that, because it's like, okay, sure, let's use sports. Sure, it's an American football team, but is it Division I versus Division II? Okay, what style of offense do they run? Are they a run heavy or are they a spread? Like, and even getting down to that intricacy rather than like, oh, tactical. They all do the same thing. They run and shoot guns. It's like, no, not the firefighters, and not specifically what happens at like, do you have somebody that's mainly just driving the engine? Do you have somebody who's climbing the ladder? Like, that's where you can get into the nitty gritty, but you don't know it unless you're going on the runs. And I haven't gone on the runs. I've just had hundreds of hours of talking with coaches about it.
Exactly right. Yeah, you're so correct. Like, understanding people's day to day, like it does change. Like we have our medics who rarely touch any, like they have to be skilled in fireground activities, but they just ride the ambulance all day. They are firefighters, but they ride the ambulance. So they're sleeping less than anyone else, but they're not doing the physical demand as the firefighters. So they're just getting burnt out. Like they're our big burnout candidates. Whereas like the firefighters, they're our big like injury risk candidates, if you will. So yeah, it's getting down to those nuances for sure.
So how do you train the, physical? And I'm not asking for your I'm just like from a 10,000 foot view, how do you take all that into consideration and write a program and not just lose your mind of like, oh my gosh, how do I handle this?
Vitruve has been my choice for VBT for years now, not only because of the encoder and how well it works with the app, and you can film movements with the camera and get live variable feedback in real time if you so choose to on the app, but the fact of the amount of content they have been pushing out to help coaches better understand VBT. It's not only just to move the bar faster. You can be working on what's the appropriate load for high rep sets based off velocity loss. You can be looking at velocity loss threshold between sets, in between reps. VBT is not just moving the bar fast. It's moving the bar fast with heavy weights. It's not just moving lightweight fast. And Vitruve has been at the forefront educating coaches on VBT and how to do it the right way. Check them out in the link down below.
Yeah, I mean, like most strength coaches, like we sort of have templates that we sort of roll off. I do like exit interviews with our recruits. So our recruits are in the program for 28 weeks. They have a very structured PT session with me. Essentially, the first 4 weeks or so of the program is foundations. Let's teach you how to hinge, squat, all that jazz. And then from there, we move into like a hypertrophy phase. And then once we start moving into like fire school, about halfway mark around week 10, 11, 12, we'll do some more strength stuff and like build the strength because you recover a little bit more from those like lower reps but higher weight sort of activities, which is great because they're going to get flogged later in the day out in the field. So they'll recover. They can't be doing hypertrophy training out there with those guys. So it's a little bit of give and take. But the point of all that is to say, when you move out into the field, you're not going to have that structure. So I do exit interviews with all the recruits and I say, all right, you got to understand that you are now all by yourself. You're out there. I'm here for you, but essentially you're not going to have me yelling at you every day. So I program it as you're at work essentially 3 days. You can do some resistance training there. I provide them a bit of a program, a little bit of power development, some, again, more strength-based work so you don't burn yourself out too hard. A lot of people, when they go to stations, I've seen some of these firehouse workouts, and like they're going 110%. And I'm like, if you guys get a call to like a serious event and you're going to be outside for like 3 hours, like you were gassed. Like you got nothing left. You can't tell me you've got anything left to give. So that's dangerous. So I'm sort of an advocate for don't train quite as hard at the station, but go through the motions. Again, do some heavier lifts that you might recover from pretty quickly, but don't like train to absolute exhaustion by doing like a 45-minute ANRAP of like whatever. So then you've got those days. We have a 24-hour shift and then you have 24 hours off. So when you go off, use those in-between days between all those 24-hour at work days as like your recovery reset days. Take your nap for about 3 to 4 hours when you get home in the morning after you get relieved, because our guys get relieved at about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Head home, go to sleep, wake up at around lunchtime. If you feel up to it, go get some PT in. But I recommend to everyone, it's like get outside, especially while the weather's good like it is now in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Like get out, get some sun, reset your circadian rhythm, and then go back to sleep later in the evening at like 11 o'clock or whatever you do. So then you're ready to go to work. But then they have their 4-day breaks. So they do 24 hours on, 24 hours off, 24 hours on, 24 hours off, 24 hours on, and then 4 days straight off at home. So with that first day of your off period, you're probably exhausted. So I say recharge, do all the right things, get some extra sleep. There's a technique called banking sleep, where if you have some sleep deprivation periods the night before or the week before, you can make it up by having an extra 3 hours or so of sleep than what you would usually get. So again, sleep is like the foundation of everything we do. So I harp on it all the time. But then from there, you've got 3 days of fun. So that's when we can do like our real fun training. You can get after it. But yeah, on shift, try and stay somewhat fresh, but get it in. On your middle days, rest for the most part. And then on your 4-day break, try and get after it for at least 2 of those days. And that's usually a pretty good way to go about it.
Talk about the banking sleep, because I feel like there's been some research saying that it's not real, like, and I feel like it's probably just who funds it, right? But like, I feel fundamentally that there is the ability to bank and catch up on sleep when you've been deprived of it. And I know that's anecdotally, and I know that I've read research on it, but like I said, I also know that there's other research where people will say, see, look, there is no such thing. And then you gotta, that's where be diligent when you read research and know who wrote it and who are the study, and actually read the research, not just the headline. Same thing like with social media, like actually read what's being said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Like it's so funny. Like my thing is all the stuff I've sort of read for the most part is banking sleep. It does have benefit, like significant benefit of undoing, especially like acute periods of sleep deprivation. With that, if there is any evidence that doesn't support that, I doubt it's going to say it's going to be harmful by getting extra sleep. So yes, it might not be amazing, but it's not going to hurt. Like it's a good routine.
Yeah, you're not going to get, your injury risk isn't going to go up like because you got more sleep.
Exactly right. So with our guys, we sort of say, hey, if you feel good on 6 hours of sleep, usually 7 to 9 is the sweet spot for most people. Anything less than 6, we start to raise some flags. But if you feel good on 6 hours of sleep, on your days off, especially like the first day after a sleep deprivation event, try and get an extra 2. So for these persons, they feel usually good on 6, try and get 8. And people try and do that and they feel pretty good. The biggest thing in the fire department, though, people love is a nap in the middle of the day, which is perfect. So the short naps, especially that like 5 to 30 minute nap, is really good for improving like your mental performance. So you're like, you're alert.
Oh, for sure.
So just getting that short one in. There's also this really cool concept of having a shot of coffee like right before you go to sleep and have that have that nap. So then you get both the benefit of the caffeine that's been metabolized during that period of sleep, but then also the nap itself. So that's caught on like wildfire out here. The guys and gals love it. So also
same thing at my work.
It's sexy.
Same. I used to call it just a caffeine nap, and I used to do it at Towson all the time. I would tell my my 2 assistants, Kate and Logan, I'd be like, all right, I'm taking my nap. We had a couch in our office. I'd pulled out, I had a fitted sheet so that way I wasn't sleeping on the couch. I had another sheet. I'd sleep on the pillow, have the drink of coffee. I was like, if anybody asks for me, tell them I'm taking the caffeine nap. Like 30 minutes later, I'll be awake. And I was like, I don't even feel guilty at this because I'm going to be, like you said, more alert, get more things done. Yeah, I took this 30-minute nap, but at the end of the day, whose output's going to be higher?
Absolutely. And I do like 20-minute presentations at the firehouse because, again, keep it short because they could get called out at any period of time. Like you could program the best thing ever, and if it's an hour and a half, like no chance of getting through it all. So like with one of my slides on like mental performance or cognitive performance and sleep is like after only 18 hours without sleep, your cognitive processing speed is the equivalent of someone at 0.05 blood alcohol concentration, which is the legal limit for driving in Australia.
Dasher has completely changed the game for how I'm able to time my athletes, whether I'm doing ACEL, max velo, or curvilinear running. Had the blues, had the blacks at Goldfinch. Now that I have the silvers, this has saved me so much time in setup, breakdown if I'm going from Ankeny to Huxley, or from Ankeny to the Nevada location, or Nevada to Huxley. Like wherever I got to go time athletes, it has made my ability to go from one place to another so much easier with the silvers. Strength coaches that have to go from one field to the other, or from the field to the court, this will help you save time. Now, in the spirit of saving time, you also have the ability to have an API interaction with TeamBuilder, so now you can see all the data on the back end. Seeing data on the back end, Dasher has a free app, a player profile app that will allow athletes to see their data. Over 6,000 coaches and athletes have done so. And if you want more than just the timing gates, if you check them out in the link down below, they have solutions to help you out with vertical jump, broad jump, RSI, all that. Check them out in the link down below.
Over here, it's 0.08. It's like, why wouldn't you take a nap? Like 18 hours without sleep. These firefighters are doing 24 plus some of the times. Like,
right?
We got to really lock in. So yeah, it's great. Again, everything goes back to sleep. I could talk all day about it for sure.
Australian strength and conditioning. I'm going to give y'all some roses because I feel like y'all do a really good job. Like the ASCA and how they've got things set up in terms of their levels and how you qualify to be like, talk about that for anybody that's not familiar with it, just because I've been fortunate to be able to, build a relationship with Peter over the last 2 years since I bought Strength Coach Network in 2023. Like they just seem like they're doing a bang up job.
They do a really good job. Obviously, being over in the US, I'm able to like compare and contrast like some of the ASCA stuff and the NSCA stuff. I guess like the biggest thing that I sort of see culturally between strength and conditioning in the US and in Australia, like we're very sports science emphasis in Australia. We don't typically have like the big burly strength coaches like you and me, obviously, over there. Like everyone looks a bit more nerdy, like we're in that sort of sports science space. So there is a big emphasis on that, and like the big concept like training smarter and not harder, and like I really like it. But from the educational standpoint, like the ASCA, I know the ASCA level 1 in particular, to get that first certification for it's like a weekend or 3-day intensive block where you are with a lecturer in strength and conditioning and you work through a whole bunch of stuff. So you're seeing it's not just like a written exam per se. That is part of it, but it's like take home, sort of like case studies every day. And then there's also like the intensive in-person stuff. And I think it's like a really good program to have to like standardize a lot of the education that we receive. It's really cool. And then I know from the level 2 perspective, the second you start upgrading and become a more senior coach, you actually have some supervisor responsibilities where you need to like supervise level 1 ASCA coach. So I think it's a really cool professional development pathway just built into the framework.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And that's where, like I said, I just pulled up the website here in terms of like learning about accreditation and all that, because it's just like, level 1, this accreditation, intro coaches, sports coaches, certified fitness trainer, physical education, provides fundamental level, top of level, seeking to further their skills. Level 2, intermediate, aimed at level 1, postgraduate from sports science, provides an advanced level of understanding. Elite level 3, master. Like, these just moving up the levels and just having some structure like that. Like,
I think it's really cool rather than just having the set and forget, just like the CSCS or whatever, which is a pretty good program. But just having like that like internal professional development as you get more senior, you're challenged more regularly.
The ASCA Elite L3 Coach Accreditation recognizes coaches who can demonstrate expert coaching skills, knowledge, and leadership for dissemination of application within high-performance sport and elite-level performance. An expert-level understanding, leadership mentoring. This is a 4-day course involving pre-course, in-course, and post-course assessment, complacency requirements, must hold the level 2 accreditation, currently for 2 years, completed relevant undergraduate, so like having a degree, provide evidence of 6 years working full-time as a strength coach, 6 years, 6 years full-time as a strength coach in a high performance with athletes, or 6 years in tactical, or 8 years in an educational, so like a high school. Evidence of contributing to the ASCA education program, so like writing an article or having a journal, you go to conferences, have evidence of ongoing professional development, so you continue to learn, and then you have 2 elite L3 or master L3 coaches verify your application and make recommendations that you are competent to attend the course.
Pretty comprehensive stuff.
So like it means something when you say it.
Yeah. I mean, you've gone through the ringer for sure. By the time you get through that level 3, it's pretty comprehensive. I haven't done level 3, but yeah, I know some people have done. I think Josh Davies, who's actually from Wales, but he's took over Connor Freeland's position at DC Fire. I believe he's in the doing the level 3 at the moment. So I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago about it. Yeah,
like I said, it's really impressive. And like I said, I like that model. And I think that's something where if we can work towards that, right? Like kind of this, instead of just like, oh, I served for X number of years and now I'm a whatever. It's like, well, can we put a little bit of teeth to it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it just gives, I don't know. I'm a huge advocate of like professional development and keeping it like engaging and novel. Like at this point, everyone knows essentially how to like coach a squad or a hinge or whatever. Like, let's make it a little bit more specific to your experience. And I think they do that really well with ASCA.
That's also why we're partners with ASCA at Strength Coach Network in terms of you need to get some PDs. You can get them through Fundamentals 1 and 2, baby.
I love that. Great plug.
You got to pay the bills. You talked about going from sport into tactical. I have talked about it a lot. I know there is no such thing as a perfect job. We know that. talk about why in the current world of 2025, more strength coaches should consider looking into it.
Okay. One, it's a green field. A lot of the places that you move into, you might be their first ever strength and conditioning coach at a military or tactical agency. So you can choose your own adventure. That's super great for me. Like, you can do whatever you want, whatever you, from points of emphasis to like your start and finish times, you could potentially be a one-man show. And that's what I am. So I am able to tailor my program to what I'm good at. And then also I'm able to like have really great discussions with leadership to be like, hey, what do you need from me? Like, what are our biggest issues at the department? And troubleshoot some of their ideas and fit in where I get in. Like at the moment, I know we spoke off air a little bit about it, but like I've worked a little bit on some like policy development stuff because of my background in research. I was able to be like, hey, like I can help you write some SOPs. I'm really interested in this sort of space and being able to make like a longer lasting change to the workforce rather than just lifting weights and putting them down. So I love that. The greenfield aspect, so the choose your own adventure pathway. Obviously the job stability we spoke about before, coach gets fired, they wipe out the whole strength and conditioning staff. Here, once you're embedded, once you've kind of got through your first 12 months, and if you're good at what you do, which I'm sure a lot of people on this call or on this podcast who are listening are, you'll show your worth immediately. So they'll keep you. And the fire service in particular don't like change. They don't love turnover. So you're there. You'll be one of them. You'll be wearing the red shirts just like me. I'm not today, but I usually am. And then from there, the culture and the impact on people. I said it before. It's like everyone is there to serve and they enjoy being served occasionally. And then unlike a lot of athletes who your services are expected, this is like a pleasant surprise. So I've never felt taken for granted at all. Like everyone's just like, oh, every time I finish a meeting with anybody or any station, everyone's like, oh, thanks so much for coming through. That's great. We need to have you back at some stage. Like it's really great. And I've said the word appreciated like 4 or 5 times. I think if anyone takes anything away from this chat, like you feel very appreciated and valued, which I think a lot of strength and conditioning coaches in college and also professional sports to an extent don't.
What if you're a young strength coach, and because hearing you say that about leaving the meeting, like you might be thrust into talking more than you had ever been, because if you were kind of hidden as the assistant strength coach, sure, you're the head strength coach for swim, gymnastics, women's lacrosse. You're a head strength coach with that. Maybe you met with the head sport coach, but you probably didn't meet with the AD. You didn't meet with anybody in the C-suite. Now maybe you are. You're meeting with some decision makers. How hard was that for you? And what do you kind of recommend to coaches to do a good job with that?
It's interesting. I know in fire service, the culture is very similar to like a football club. That's very common back, like a rugby club, soccer club, that sort of thing. So they have an internal promotion pathway where everyone starts a recruit, and then in 20 years' time, you might be the chief of the department. So everyone's sort of pretty friendly. So I didn't find it too nerve-wracking to walk into like a CEO's office, really, because it's like I'm going in usually with like the captain, so middle management, I guess, middle to senior management. And they're coming in and they're immediately hugging. And it's like, all right, this guy's not a big, scary person. We can like have some honest conversations. But yeah, it's building confidence and like drawing upon the stuff you're comfortable talking about. So everyone is confident, I would hope, in at least one area of strength and conditioning or health and wellness in general. So drawing upon those success stories and touch points. So if you're like a really good, or like you're really interested in like aerobic capacity, understand how that might translate to air consumption, understand how that might transfer to your ability to do the job successfully and safely and limit cardiovascular risk. So you can like sit into that niche and like stay into that until you feel more comfortable and have expanded your understanding of the job and the profession. So that's what I did. I was like super comfortable with talking around like injury reductions and that sort of stuff. And I was like, hey, like, I know these are the mechanisms of the injuries. I know this is what the workforce typically looks like in fire departments. Here's how I'm going to try and help. Have I missed anything? And they were like, oh no, that sounds really good. We should put together this package. So after Joel Dunstan and myself, like we finished our 2 theses, we both got hired, and we were like, all right, our first point of emphasis is going to be everyone hurts themselves doing manual handling and patient handling tasks. So we met with the local ambulance department and we got trained in their manual handling and patient handling course, and we made our own curriculum, and then we rolled that out. And that was like our first project that we did at the South Australian department. And that was great because we had an answer. We came with answers. And I think people enjoyed like someone solving their problem, even if they didn't even know it was a problem.
Now, I know you talked about your family there. Like, everybody's wondering, you going to go back to Australia? You're staying here in the States?
I love it over here. Mum's pretty sad. Dad loves it. Dad lived over in the US for a couple of years, and he had an excellent time as well. Mum wants me back. She always wants me back, but she comes over every year or so. But no, my wife's from America initially. Her father's from my hometown, Adelaide, in Australia. And so when it came for her to graduate high school, she was like, where am I going to go? And
you need to tell the story about college in Australia to everybody so that your mind can get blown.
So my wife went to high school in Virginia, and she was a citizen of Australia. So she was like, all right, I could pay $200,000 in university loans, or I can go to Australia and live with my family. And as a citizen, there's this thing called like a HECS debt, which essentially is a federal loan that pays for your college. And essentially an undergraduate degree is about $20,000 across the board. You don't pay any of it until you start making $50,000 a year. Once you make $50,000 a year, the more you make, the more comes out of your paycheck pre-tax. So like for me in Australia, it was like $30 every 2 weeks, every paycheck. It would like come out and go towards that. And that doesn't grow. And obviously the more you make, the more comes out, but it keeps to inflation. So it's at like 3% every year. So it's not like a crazy loan. You don't feel it at all. People kind of laugh about it and being like, oh, they're just going to wipe them away anyway. Because like all our parents and all the politicians, like they all got free education about 20 years ago. So we just missed it. So we just kind of have in the back of our heads like, it'll get wiped. So yeah,
the second question that everybody might have is, if they go over to Australia, how long do they need to go for, and where do they need to go?
Oh, this is a great question. So I'm extremely biased. So
everybody's biased. You're just admitting it. Okay. You're just admitting it. Everybody has their bias.
Yeah. I'll give you the pitch for my hometown. So my hometown, Adelaide in South Australia, we do an excellent job at food and wine. So if you're a food and wine connoisseur, it's a must go spot. So we have essentially 4 different microclimates across the state, from the Barossa Valley, the Clare Valley, McLaren Vale, the Adelaide Hills, whatever, which provide different terrain to have different sorts of excellent quality wines. So you could do, and they're all within 1 hour from the city. So a very common thing for people to do is meet in the city, get on a minibus, and drive out on a Saturday afternoon to one of these beautiful wine regions and just have a gorgeous time from 10 o'clock until 6 o'clock at night, just tasting the different wineries. That is the play. When we got married back in Australia earlier this year, we took a 30-person bus full of our American friends and family, and we're like, we're going to show you the best day of your life. And it was like a random Wednesday, and we just went around and had a blast. So that's the pitch for South Australia. But if you are going to go, Sydney, in a nutshell, is the most American city that I can think of. That's like the closest comparison. Beautiful weather, beautiful beaches, beautiful people. Queensland and northern Queensland is a bit more like our Florida, really humid, great activities, especially if you like to go outside and explore the rainforest up north. The Great Barrier Reef's up there, which everyone's heard of too. But the more north you go and the more humid it gets, the more Florida it becomes. Sorry to our Florida listeners, but it's Florida man sort of activity. I can say this because my uncle lives in a tree house out there, but that's a story for another day. So yeah, you got to do Sydney, you got to do Queensland. If you're big into sport, you got to check out Melbourne. That's the home of sport.
Alex, I appreciate you, brother. It's the end of your day here. Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch, my man.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time, Justin.
Thanks for watching that video. If you enjoyed it, click right here for videos just like that, and make sure you click here to subscribe to our channel. Have a great rest of your day.